Alright, now that you've let it soak in acetone for a good bit and you've blown it out with an air compressor and you made sure you've got all the excess gasket material removed from the two main bodies, we can start reassembling it. And what I like to do first is to go ahead and put back the two metal caps that we removed from here and here. And the reason I like to do that is because usually it takes a little bit of force and some beating. So it really, there's really no, as I know it, standard way to do this, but what I like to do is place the larger cap right on top of the opening, get it nice and centered, make sure you're not canted or biased towards one direction. Get a good flat surface, and with the blunt end of either this screwdriver or some other object, I like to beat it down. And usually it takes a few little licks and you get it in there and you have a pretty nice seal. And then we're going to take the next one and we're going to do the exact same thing. So you can see they're not coming out of there, they're in there good, they have a good seal. So that's like what I like to do first. Then after that, what I'm going to do is put, so there should be this white plastic washer and then this piece, and it can go down here. You want to make sure that you start the threads with your finger and not strip these threads. Get that good and tight. Alright, once we've got that in there, you're going to need to, so there's this little bitty spring clip thing here. I don't know how well you can see it, but you're going to want to take, there's a little shepherd's hook looking side to it, and you want to slide the top of the needle valve into that shepherd's hook, and it's going to go back inside there. Now to assemble the float, this prong faces towards the body, and you're also going to, and the other part of that little clip there is going to slide over the top of it. That way you can kind of see the needle there, it's held on by that hook. So slide it down in there, and then carefully, you have a new plastic little pin, you're going to slide it into there, and voila. Now one thing, now to set the float, your float, mine actually looks really good, but your float, whenever you have the carburetor upside down, the float should, this edge of the float and the body, carburetor body, should be parallel. You shouldn't have anything that looks like that, or if it's pointed down, that's bad. You want the two to be pretty much parallel, and you can see right out of the box this one sits pretty good. So if yours doesn't sit parallel, you can bend this brass tab until you get to parallel. But so that's how you adjust the carburetor float. So you would want to do this now. Once you got the float adjusted, once you got the float adjusted, you can go ahead and put on your rubber gasket. So you can see the gasket goes on like that. And then you can put back on the top or bottom half, like so. So you can hold it together. You got your 4 screws. The smaller 2 screws go on this end, and the longer 2 screws go over here. Alright, once you got it tightened back down together, from the bottom half we had this 1 screw. You want to replace the gasket on the fastener and screw it back in. The next thing we're going to do is reinstall this portion here with the idle speed adjuster. What's pretty important to note is in your carb kit you're going to get 2 of these little plastic washers, or actually 3, because you remember we put 1 of them underneath the brass fitting in there. So you're going to have 2 more plastic ones like that, and then you're going to have 2 kind of felt or gasket like material. So how these stack up inside of here per the diagram is you're going to have a plastic one, the 2 felt ones, and then a plastic one on the end. So I don't know if you can see that, but you have a plastic, 2 felt ones, and then a plastic one on the end. And that kind of hull assembly is going to go down in there, and then you're going to screw this in, and then your idle set screw. So I'm going to do that now. Another quick thing I want to mention before I put those in there is that whenever you're removing the gaskets out of this orifice, make sure that you take the time and you get all of them out. And you can see here, these are the old ones. So it's really important, like this 90-degree pick, if you have one of those, it really is handy getting down in. It really is handy getting down in there and picking that out if you had one of those 90-degree picks. Once we got it all sit down in there properly, we can go ahead and screw this in there. Make sure you don't strip it. You may want to get a wrench and tighten that a little more snug than what I have it. And then we're going to screw this down until it seats. Do not go past just that initial seat setting. And once we get it to seat, then we're going to back it off 1.5 turns. And the reason we back it off 1.5 turns is that's your initial carb setting. And then once you get this back on your motor and you're in the water in your boat, you can further tune the setting while it's in gear. So it's seated, it's good and firm, and we're going to back it off 1.5 turns. So there you go. After that, you can go ahead and put your cover back on, and you're good to go. And that's how you rebuild a 9.5 horsepower carburetor on a Johnson Evinrude motor. Again, please hit the like button and the subscribe button if this helped you out. It helps me out. And anyway, thanks.